Hello everyone, welcome back to Bio with Miss Lisa. Today we are going to talk about photosynthesis and cellular respiration. We're going to compare and contrast these processes, not necessarily their overview, but more of their stages. Compare and contrast their stages. How are they similar? How are they different? How are they opposite? Okay, so we're going to start this process by comparing and contrasting the Krebs cycle from the cellular respiration and the light-independent reactions, the Kelvin cycle, from photosynthesis. Okay. And I want us just to think about three things. I want us to think about carbon dioxide, three carbon molecules, and energy molecules for each of these processes. Okay, so here we have our citric acid cycle for cellular respiration, and here is our Kelvin cycle from photosynthesis. So what is the role of carbon dioxide in each of these processes? One of these processes is using carbon dioxide, and one is producing carbon dioxide. And so I'm not going to give you the answer, but I want you to think about it. Here, the citric acid cycle, is it using or producing carbon dioxide? Okay. Same here, the Kelvin cycle, is it using or producing carbon dioxide? Now our three carbon molecule, which one is using a three carbon molecule? Which one is using pyruvate, a three carbon molecule? And which one is producing half a glucose or a three carbon molecule? So you want to think, is it using or producing a three carbon molecule? Is it using or producing a three carbon molecule? And what about our energy molecules like ATP, NADH, NADPH, okay, FADH2? What's happening with these energy molecules? Which one is producing energy, is primarily producing energy molecules? And which one has the goal of using those energy molecules to produce something else? Okay, so tell me, our energy molecules, is our goal to produce them, or are we using them to do something else? Okay, and that would be, so if I ever asked you to compare and contrast these processes, this is what I'm looking for. Now let's take a look at our electron transport chain, and let's look at our light-dependent reactions. So when we look at these two processes, I really want us to think about how are they different and how are they similar? I would expect that you would be able to tell me two ways that they're different and explain both sides, okay, and two ways that they're similar. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through each of these processes. And as I do that, I want you to think about what is different between them and what is similar. I'm going to start here with the electron transport chain or cellular respiration. So this process is getting electrons from NADH and FADH2. These were produced in the Krebs cycle and glycolysis. So these molecules are going to drop off their electrons to the electron transport chain. The electrons are going to be passed down the membrane, and as they do that, the energy from the electrons is going to be used to bring hydrogens from the matrix into the intermembrane space. As we keep bringing hydrogens into the intermembrane space, we're going to end up with a high hydrogen concentration in the intermembrane space, and we're going to end up with a low concentration here. So then where are our hydrogens going to want to go? Well, they're going to want to return to where there's a low concentration because they want equal on both sides, remember? So they're going to do facilitated diffusion through ATP synthase. And when this happens, the mechanical energy from the movement of hydrogens and the spinning of ATP synthase will produce ATP. And in this process of electron transport chain and cellular respiration, it produces about 34 ATP per glucose molecule. Okay. When the electrons have ran out of energy, they are then going to combine with hydrogen and oxygen and form water. Okay, so this is kind of how the electron transport chain in cellular respiration works. Now I'm going to come over here and we're going to talk a little bit about the light-dependent reactions. So the light-dependent reactions, they're going to get their electrons from water. So we're going to do photolysis of water and produce oxygen gas and plus hydrogen. Okay? And the electrons from the water are going to be passed to its version of the electron transport chain, or chlorophyll actually, and then passed down the electron transport chain. So when the electrons are here in photosystem 2, they're attached to the chlorophyll, and the solar light is going to be absorbed by the chlorophyll, which will energize the electrons. The energized electrons, these electrons now have enough energy to do something with. They will pump hydrogens. Sorry, I realized there's a mistake here. 1 second. So I'm sorry. From the energy from the electrons, will pump hydrogens from the stroma into the thylakoid lumen. As we keep pumping hydrogens into the thylakoid lumen will increase in hydrogen concentration. They will want to go back to a low concentration, so they'll go out through ATP synthase, which will turn ADP into ATP. We also have a photosystem 2, so we have an additional step in the light-dependent reactions. These electrons will continue and be passed to photosystem 1, the chlorophyll in photosystem 1, where they will be re-energized by solar energy once again. So there should be another little sunshine over here. But this time the energy from those electrons is going to be used to convert NADP plus into NADPH. Okay? So what are we producing here? We're producing ATP, we're producing NADPH, we're producing oxygen gas by the photolysis of water. So I want you to think about, how are they similar? How are they different? Okay, what do you see that's common between them, and what do you see that's different? It's not labeled here, but this membrane here is the inner membrane of the mitochondria. This membrane here is the thylakoid membrane, the membrane of the thylakoids inside the chloroplasts. Okay. All right. I wish you the best of luck, and